Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Friday night, June 5th, 2020. Welcome to this edition of The Don Tony Show. I am Don Tony, and I want to thank you all for tuning in. As always, much love, much appreciation for all of your support. And, if you know anyone out there that is not aware that yours truly has gone to YouTube doing video shows, let them know. Let them check it out. Maybe they'll like it. Maybe they'll spit in your face. Well, spitting in your face right now is probably not a good idea to do, but wow, we got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. It's going to be a great episode, I think. We have new Smackdown Tag Team Champions, Bayley, Sasha Banks. Bayley is a double champion right now. And if you remember last Friday's Don Tony show, we talked about this tag match that was going to go down tonight. And we said that they can use this match to start the dissension between Bayley and Sasha Banks, or they could take the extra rest stop. Remember the scenic route? And they'll win the tag titles, and then ultimately something will happen, and maybe once they lose the belts, that's when the official... This is what WWE calls taking their sweet-ass time because of a fucking pandemic. I think WWE, in their mind, pictures that this split, if they still go this route, which it has to be, they may try to tread this until SummerSlam. I mean, look at the creepy Ali storyline. The truth will be told. When you keep crying wolf, the truth, the truth, the truth, the truth, the truth, do you realize that we're now entering week 17 about the truth will be told, the truth? And think about it. 17 weeks of this stuff. I'm not aware of Ali being injured. And look, I know we're not 100% certain who the person is, or the truth will be told, and this and that. But come on, man. I mean, I think people overthink this a little bit. You got Ali's logo from the middle of February to the present. Just think of the storyline. That's his trademark. It's in all the skits. If it wasn't going to be Ali in storyline, why would he? Nah, man, I think people are overthinking it. But while this Emma-like buildup is happening, Ali is not on television. That's the thing I think people don't stop to think about, is Ali is not on television. Why is he not on TV? I mean, he's on social media and he's interacting with everyone, and he's not wrestling. I mean, I'm not aware of any injuries, any recent injuries. Shout out to Joey Dollars. Joey Dollars' son, Justin, is a new member of the Donzilla Army. Thank you very much, my friend. Thank you very much. And, I'm actually going to play around with a little bit of different Super Chat interactives tonight, like this one. What school did you go to? Oh, and it's his birthday. I don't think he wants to reveal his actual name, but happy birthday, my friend. Hope you have many more. Absolutely. Oh, boy, what a rough week, man. I want to thank everybody who not only tuned in to last Friday's Don Tony show, but allowed me for the second half of the show to basically be Anthony DeBlasi for a little while and talk about everything that's going on, since this tragedy of George Floyd, and how my views have changed over the last couple of years. I mean, they didn't happen overnight, but slowly it was building. And I think for some people who were blindsided at some of the views that have changed on my end, especially the kneeling thing with Kaepernick, I get it now. Sometimes things start to click. Things start to fall, together, like a domino effect. And that's what's happening with yours truly. And later on in this show, if you all want me to play it, I wanted to play what The Rock said about our current president. Very powerful. I agree with almost everything that he said. But I will, stop short of what people are saying as far as running for president, and I'll explain why later. But you know what I think it is too? One complaint that I got last year and the year before on, now it's different on Patreon, because Patreon shows our patrons dictate what topics are discussed. But when it comes to the other shows, and last year I wasn't doing Wednesday night, well, actually I started doing it, towards the fall when AEW debuted on television and NXT was on USA. But for pretty much 2018 and 2019, the biggest complaint that I got from so many people out there was, we really don't want to hear that much with politics. And then that's what sparked me to start blah, 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 which was pretty much everything but wrestling. But slowly, wrestling would creep into that show as well, and that show is primarily Patreon now. But because I made such a concerted effort in 2020 to not talk about politics on these shows, unless something major happens, obviously, because of the lack of political talk, I didn't discuss little things that started to sway me in a different direction. Patreon knows, because they bring up politics a lot. But for everybody else that has checked out the shows in 2020, I have done everything I possibly can to eliminate political talk. So when things, major happens, like what happened to George Floyd, I basically decided, it's time for me to throw all this out there and just really share it. And you know what? One thing that I've been saying for a while now, I talked about it last week. I mentioned it on Monday, and I'm going to mention it again tonight. Probably, other than the Rocks video, the only other discussion tonight that will really have nothing to do with wrestling, when I say that video is a game changer for confronting racism in 2020, confronting the Karens in 2020, we got oh my God, there's so many examples that have happened the last 2 days, but there's one in particular I want to share with everyone later. And not even bicycle helmets and big sunglasses could hide your identity. People see this video later, it's only about 30 seconds, but when you see the video, and then you find out what transpired after, it'll blow you away. I mean, it's just amazing how quickly people can be identified, especially when they're pretty much, you're just your everyday neighbor. That's the scary thing about it. So, why did that happen? Oh, I know why that happened, because I actually went to hit this. Roger Rubio. Oh, thank you very much, my friend. Look, never in a million years ever thought that I would agree as far as the kneeling. But, the more, time went by, and the more, you think about, look, one thing is for certain, our military men, they seem to turn the other cheek more than anything else. And even though it may insult them that you're kneeling or you're looking away from our national anthem, I think our military men would still, because they fight. Look, let me put it like this. This is the best way I could summarize this. We'll move on immediately. Our military fight for our freedom. They fight for our right to have freedom of speech, even if it's speech that you don't agree with. I'm not talking about heinous stuff. I'm talking about, political views and opinions. We all have the right to disagree. That's our freedom. So the fact that when they fight for our freedom, they don't say, we're only fighting for the freedom of the speech that we agree with. They're fighting for all speech. So if our military are dying for our freedom, whether they agree or disagree, then what makes it any different as far as kneeling like Kaepernick? And that's really what started to change my feelings on this. But, we'll get into that a little bit later, as we go along. Now, as far as Bailey, Danielson, Bailey deserves it. Look, it's interesting because you may not agree with this, but I thought about it. Now, look, I went live literally 3-4 minutes after SmackDown went off the air. So I didn't get a chance to really digest some of the late content that we saw on SmackDown. But I asked myself this question almost immediately, and you ask yourselves this question too. Would Bailey be a double champion right now. Bayley 2 belts if Becky was still on TV. Think about that for a minute. They felt like WWE really wanted Becky to be the only one of Becky 2 belts. They've teased other people with 2 belts here and there, but I don't know if Bayley would have been Bayley 2 belts if Becky Lynch was still on television. Hey, like I said, SmackDown's not even off the air 15 minutes. So maybe after I think about it a little bit more, maybe I kind of disagree with what I'm saying right now. But I don't believe in any way, shape, or form that Bayley and Sasha Banks will have a long run with these belts. I truthfully believe that with COVID and with, look, Florida's now entering phase 2. In Florida, with WWE, they can have some fans there if they want to. We already discussed this a few times already, why I don't believe WWE is going to make that jump as quickly as people. Even if Florida turned around next week and said, listen, everything could be back to normal. Everybody be back to normal. I still think WWE would say, we're just not ready yet. We're not that comfortable yet. Blah, 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 blah. So the fact that we're now in phase 2, a month from now, we're in phase 4. And if things don't get worse with COVID, a lot of things will be pretty much, I shouldn't say back to normal, but a lot of forms of entertainment can go back to normal if they want to. And I don't think WWE wants to go back full-blown back to normal almost immediately. Now, I know what a lot of you are going to say right off the bat. Don Tony, WWE would be absolutely stupid to reject all that revenue that they could receive from ticket sales if they're allowed to do it. Now, I say this to all of you out there. WWE, if they wanted to, can go to other states where they're pretty much 100% open. Yet you don't even hear any rumblings about WWE doing that, which, and we kind of discussed that a few times already. But you see other federations, other indie groups that are announcing shows in states that they don't normally or even ever go into because they can start a little earlier, get some fans there, just still take, your precautions. So you see indie groups capitalizing on that. And I've been saying all along, AEW will be the one out of WWE, AEW. They'll be the first to have more as far as fans, quote unquote, around ringside. Now, speaking of fans tonight, we had the NXT stars around ringside. I don't know if you think I'm nitpicking or not, but in the past, I used to use a phrase, storyline stupidity, and last week I came up here. I had no problem with Jeff Hardy, them incorporating real life, because Jeff was willing to do it. Jeff is sober. Jeff basically wanted to give that real element to it. He's still feuding with Sheamus. Look, last week I said, and a lot of you said it out there as well, it was Sheamus that did it. So I had no problem with them using this in a storyline since Jeff Hardy was comfortable with it. But tonight, I thought the storyline was just absolutely handled stupidly. Number one, especially, and this has been my complaint now for 2 weeks with WWE having these fans around ringside. I mean, they were probably better off just piping in the cheers and the boos. This feels so fake with them around ringside. And look, I know some of you out there going to be like, DT, can't you just be happy for it? Look, this is better than nothing. I am not going to take that away. But it feels like there's somebody, that told them from the beginning, good guy, cheer, bad guy, boo. But wait, but I'm a heel on NXT. I don't care. Cheer, good guy, boo, bad guy. Cheer, good girl, boo, bad girl. Good, cheer. Bad, boo. And it's so, and tonight was a perfect example how god-awful that is. Jeff Hardy opens up SmackDown. Now, he knew that it was a setup. Everybody saw that coming. Now, let me just say, in just storyline right now, suspension of disbelief. When SmackDown started tonight, it wasn't revealed that Jeff Hardy was sober. It wasn't revealed that Jeff Hardy was set up, even though we all knew it. But it wasn't revealed. There was no teasers. Who set up Jeff Hardy? Blah, 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 blah. All it was, Jeff Hardy makes a statement. Now, for the morons out there, he could have come out and say, I have a problem. I have a problem. And I must battle that problem. We knew that wasn't it. My point is, why are all the fans around ringside cheering this guy when he comes out? It's just storyline purposes. This guy could have come out and said, I have an alcoholic problem. I have a problem. I must step away. Why would you cheer someone who allegedly was inebriated, drove a car, caused Elias, quote unquote, who is now out several months with an injury? Why do you cheer him like an ultimate babyface? And someone does wrong. And I know what some of you are going to say, well, he's a human and this is that. But you just look for entertainment purposes. It was not a known fact yet as storyline that Jeff Hardy was sober. So why are they all cheering him when he comes out? And the best part, even worse, I could sort of let that go. Why the fuck was Sheamus not arrested? He gets behind a wheel, commits fucking assault on Elias, where he's hospitalized and he's out of action for several months. Where the fuck are the cops? I mean, I know there's rumors of Minneapolis and other areas, disband the cops, disband the cops, as nuts as that sounds. Did they disband the cops around the Performance Center? Were they all busy arresting piss shit milk guy again? Did you hear about that? This isn't an old mugshot, everybody. Piss shit milk guy got arrested again. Violating the order of protection, resisting arrest, spitting in a cop's face, and he's in jail right now. He's got $2,750 bond, I believe, which only comes out to about $275. He can't even come up with that. If I wasn't such a changed person over the last couple of years, I'd seriously consider paying the $275 to bail him out just so he could be a fuck up again on video. Just so he could go right back and just giving us more material to talk about. But I don't joke about that because this is going to end in tragedy. I mean, it's kind of funny to laugh at him like, wow, what a loser, what a goof, and, some of the rants he goes on. But you research this guy's history and you hear some of the disturbing things he's done in the past. There's a reason why they call him piss, shit, milk guy. So this motherfucker back in jail again after stalking. And it's funny because these websites don't even do any research. You see some of these, they can't even fucking calculate numbers correctly. So, but, good guy cheer, bad guy boo. Dawn Marie. Yeah, you remember that with Kamala? Dawn Marie, no good. When you got a lot of money in your pocket and you look back on it, he actually technically is. He's right. He's right. You got a lot of money in your pocket. You could get away with things. So this Matarazzi is back in jail again. I'm telling you, it's going to end up in tragedy. Now he's, assaulting cops. Now, look, nobody bothered to do the research. I found out he spit in the cop's face. That's considered assault right now, especially with COVID going on, So he's in fucking jail. It's a shame, man. Total shame. Cassette Classics 86. Safer match, Nia or King Mabel? What's LT 50? Oh, LT, Lawrence Taylor 56. Or who's RJ 44? Drawing a blank. RJ 44. Was he on the Jets? I'm trying to think. Let me know so I can actually answer that part. No, I think Nia Jax is a little more careless. I was very respectful Wednesday talking about that. And I didn't want to wait till today or next Monday to talk about the Kairi Sane injury that I saw after, we finished the show Monday. But, I didn't even, bring up the injury to Charlotte, the injury to Becky, the injury to others. It's what now. It's funny. Here's once again websites, use an assumption to try to make it as news. You get once again the anonymous source. Oh, somebody in the WWE is so angry they're demanding that Nia Jax be fired. Yeah, okay. We got to start doing? When something like this happens again, we got to immediately put out the anticipated bullshit story that follows with it. AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan next week. What did all these matarazzas report? It's an amazing match. The second greatest match ever. We know AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan could kick ass in the ring against each other. That is not, my sources tell me. They're on the phone with me right now. It's almost like that scene of Back to the Future when Michael J. Fox is doing a Johnny Be Good, and he's like, yo, do you hear this? I mean, you think these goofs, suddenly they got a friend that's in the performance center. Yo, blah, 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 blah. You got to see this. No, they hear these two guys on paper, and it's a phenomenal match, pun intended. So anyway, Reggie Jackson. No, you're asking me like who's Reggie Jackson is my all-time favorite sports player, period. Not even close. Number one to me. And, people need to understand too, when you talk about racism, when I bring up, and look, I got a 22-year track record. And in 4 days, I'll be celebrating my 23rd year doing this stuff. June 9th, 1997. First Hotline report I ever did. Never thought that I would do it all that long. Otherwise, I probably would have just recorded it on my answering machine or something, just for nostalgic purposes. But anybody that's followed me in the 90s, the 2000s, 2010, just think about it. Just think about how old I am now. Let's be honest. Yes, it's semantics. And yes, it's kind of like playing with numbers. But if you really want to look at this, I am now in my 4th decade doing this. And that's not a lie. I could use it as a catch thing. Hey, Don Tony, 4th decade doing it. The 90s, the 2000s, 2010s, and now the 2020s. But anybody that's ever followed me, that's almost all of my all-time favorite sports athletes are black. It's not a black and white thing for me. But when you learn and you see what they went through when they were coming up, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. Now, I guess we could segue into some news. I don't know how you all feel about this, because I'll be honest with you. I'm not sure how I feel about this. Did you hear what happened with a couple of words that CM Punk said towards AJ Styles' way? Do you guys check this out yet? Now, I'm blocked still from CM Punk, so I can't read what he says. But a few people are like, hey, did you hear what CM Punk said about AJ Styles? I'm like, no, I didn't. So I had to do some research and check it out. So, a lot of people out there have been very vocal about racism, what happened to George Floyd, and what happened to other people, what happened to people even last week that we talked about as well. And some people have been very open and vocal about it. There's a video out there of Aleister Black crying about this. And those aren't crocodile tears. He was very sincere about what he said. He was doing a live Instagram and chatting with someone who was black and got extremely emotional over it. I wanted to play the video, but the thing is, with some people's videos, I don't know if I'm allowed to have permission. The Rock's is a little different because The Rock put it all over, all of social media. And I saw on YouTube everybody and their mother has covered it and played it. So that's a little bit different. Now, Darren, you could tell when someone is getting emotional, and someone who really gets it from here. There are actors and actresses that could cry on camera. How they do it, all different. That video of my parents. I have it queued up. Few people asked me to share with all of you. I don't know if I could do that tonight because I don't know if I want Don Tony to be crying like a baby on this show tonight. But I could tell you, that when I talked to a friend of mine a long time ago, like 20, 30 years ago, and he was like a bullshit actor. He would be like an extra in a lot of films. But there was one that he was doing like an independent film, and he was supposed to cry on camera. And he said he just thought about his favorite dog when he was a kid, and they had to put his dog down. And, he would think about that dog and get very emotional. So he would be on camera doing a film and crying about something totally different, but in his mind, he's thinking about his dog. So there are actors and actresses that can cry on cue, but you can tell when someone is really crying from here. And Aleister Black was absolutely sincere, absolutely. But here's the thing, though. I don't know if it's a requirement that every single person speak publicly about racism, George Floyd. A lot of people, it's very hard to come out with the words. Number one, in this day and age, you have to be so careful about what you say. Look, I always feel if you're honest about what you say, people will understand it. People will, not, go. Strangers that don't know the person may interpret it a different way. But if you say something and you explain it, even if it's not the exact words you want to say, people normally would understand. I bring up Jericho, like I said on Wednesday. I bring up Randy Orton. I bring up others. When or Jericho especially, when he said all lives matter, everybody knows Jericho's track record, all the people that he's helped. There has never been an incident that I'm aware of, anything with racism. He's always there helping everybody. And what his point was that we should love everybody. We should treat everybody. And yours truly, a couple of years ago, would say, look, yeah, Black Lives Matter, but I feel all lives matter. Blue lives matter, Black lives matter, white lives matter. Everybody matters. Treat everybody the same. Treat everybody like family. Treat everybody how you want to be treated. And although all of those aspects is right, when people say Black Lives Matter, they're not saying that other lives don't matter. And that's something that you learn. And I've learned that over time. And now I understand a lot more. I personally think that a lot of you out there would appreciate seeing someone being straight up honest and giving their view and expanding on it. So even if the words you hear aren't exactly the way you expect to hear it, you know what the person means by it. Lillian Garcia, I've mentioned it Wednesday, I'll say it again here now. I don't think in any way, shape, or form she was being shallow. My coffee! No! No, I mean, it's just a business. An innocent person's business got burnt down or looted and everything. So she wasn't trying to be superficial. And on the surface, people that don't really follow her, like, oh, poor baby. Now she's got to use her own Keurig machine. Oh, so you see where I'm going with this. So my point is, you have to be so careful sometimes in what you say, because people will interpret it the wrong way. Look at those three women that were on film yesterday, and all they were doing was cleaning up the Lincoln Memorial. Cleaning it up. Three white girls cleaning up the Lincoln Memorial. Some other white girl in a car is filming them and calling them racist because they're cleaning up graffiti. And the person in the car is like, why are you doing that? Why are you doing? Because, you should respect property and this and that. And this person in the car did everything they could to try to convince those three women that they were racist. So in so many ways, you can't win unless you read, verbatim what everybody else says. So with AJ Styles, I don't know if he's extremely comfortable talking about these really raw topics. There's a lot of people who keep very quiet because, they're introverts. And yeah, I understand WWE stars are larger-than-life characters, and they're role models in a lot of ways. And sorry if I'm doing this. I have my fan on because it's like 85 degrees here right now. And it's so fucking hot, and I don't have my air conditioner set up again. So I'm forced to put this fan, and I think there's like dust in the air, and it's like blowing in my face. So I'll turn the fan off for a little while, and, that'll probably settle it. I got ice-cold water here, so. But with AJ Styles, you don't hear him talk a lot about things going on in the world. That doesn't make him racist, in my opinion. Now, CM Punk may know things that we don't, obviously. But for those that don't know what's going on, CM Punk went on social media, posted on something on Twitter, and I quote, "A lot of people snitching on themselves. When people tell you who they are, believe it. Might be unfortunate and disappointing if you're a fan of that person, or if it's your grandmother, but fuck them. Goodbye. I yield my time. Fuck you." That's what CM Punk wrote. So a fan replied to CM Punk, and the fan writes, and I quote, "Right? Silence speaks volumes. Seeing AJ Styles promote streams and shit, but couldn't be bothered to post anything about what's going on, made it clear how he feels. That was a tough unfollow." All right? That's a fan's opinion on AJ Styles. I'm not going to commend it or shit on it, but that's what a fan said to CM Punk. So now, once this fan tells CM Punk that AJ Styles, he's promoting streams and this other stuff, but he can't say a word about what's going on, so that fan unfollowed him. CM Punk's response to this fan, well, come on. That one's been obvious for years. That's what CM Punk said about AJ Styles. So now, again, I personally think, just my opinion, if CM Punk is going to give this impression that something is up with AJ Styles for years, especially when this guy has, 1 million followers or whatever he has, you better be prepared to back that up a little bit, because I don't hear much about AJ Styles in his private life. His private life is very private. Yes, we've seen a little bit on TV with the Samoa Joe storyline and everything, but, I don't know. Some people are very, very uncomfortable talking about things, publicly, no matter what it is. So I don't know if that makes AJ Styles or anybody else a racist because they keep their thoughts to themselves. Sure. I think it would probably be good, to see more people speak out, because hell, the reason why everybody wants to check out that video of my parents, at the wedding thing, that I always can't, cry my eyes out watching it, is because that artist, AJ Moore, ironically the same name as AJ Styles, AJ Moore, I watched him draw Shad Gaspard 2 weeks ago, for anybody that doesn't know the story. He's doing a live drawing, paying tribute to Shad Gaspard. I showed everybody the picture. It was beautiful. And I met AJ earlier this year at the big event, the autograph signing convention in New York. Braun Strowman was there, Undertaker was there, and others. Met a lot of you very cool people out there. And, I'm watching him draw Shad Gaspard 2 weeks ago, and he's talking about how Shad being a hero, being the ultimate father, losing his life for his son. And AJ starts talking about his personal life as far as with his father. And I'm not going to repeat that stuff here. But out of nowhere, he starts bringing up a story that he heard on a show about 4 or 5 years ago about parents. And he proceeds to tell the story of what I said 5 years ago about my parents and watching them, when they do that thing, for everybody who's been married 5 years or less, sit down, 10 years or less, sit down. And it went almost to the end and my parents were still dancing, and you see how long they've been together. I get choked up, so that was so powerful to him. And I had just said it in passing 4 or 5 years ago, and that stuck with him. So with AJ Styles or anybody else, saying something simple might be simple in your eyes, but to someone else, that could stick with them. So I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with AJ Styles. But I feel right now, and this is just my opinion, when everybody is trying to unify and try to get it, bring everybody together and heal a little bit, throwing that little dagger out there towards AJ Styles, in my opinion, just my opinion, I think that was uncalled for. If there is something that we don't know about as far as AJ Styles and racism, if you're going to throw that dart, you know, you should elaborate a little bit more, because leaving that unknown out, and look, of course I would want to know. It's not like, you ever see that GIF? Is that what they call the GIF? I can always say it wrong, but you ever see that one that people put up, and it's Biggie with the popcorn? You know, when people like anticipating something, like they post the clip and he's eating the popcorn and he's like all excited. I'm not over here with that popcorn all excited, like, oh my God, what is he going to say? And no, I mean, to leave it out there unclear, what that ends up happening is that every single person that follows this story right now is going to come to their own conclusion about AJ Styles. And maybe CM Punk is just turned off at the fact that AJ Styles is just very, very private and doesn't want to bring it up. And he has that right to that opinion. And it may not be any incidents. I haven't heard any other wrestlers on any shoot interviews. Have you? Have you ever heard any shoot interviews with someone calling out AJ Styles for race? I haven't. So if you're going to leave it that vague, people are going to come up with their own conclusions. And what was that term, chat room, help me? What is that term that Lance Storm said a couple of weeks ago, like 2 weeks ago, as far as people who just like, you know, post things to like rat on other people? I can't remember the term. I'm sure one of you out there remembers. I don't think that's fair, in my honest opinion. You know, if you're going to leave that out there, you know, people are going to come to this anger and hatred towards AJ Styles, something snitch. It was a snitch something. I just think that's a little unfair, in my opinion. Snitch tagging. Okay, snitch tagging. All right, that's pretty much, you know, like even somebody, and the guy's a cool guy, I'm not going to blow him up over here, but some girl, you know, was trying to maybe cause some controversy with Peyton Royce. And I'm not a fan of the Iconics at all, you know that. But personally, I have no issues with them. And this girl was talking about someone with Peyton Royce sitting in a car, and there was a car next to her with booming music and this and that, trying to insinuate that there might have been some racist words said over there. And somebody immediately went on my social media page and said, oh, I think we got another Velveteen Dream here. Now, this person was actually defending Peyton Royce. Like, this might be another case where someone, yup. What about all the people with the egg on their face about Velveteen Dream? Convinced that the guy did it. So, but I don't think that's fair. I don't think it's fair to put attention on someone unless you are 100% sure of the facts and you are 100% clear of the facts. So I don't know how you feel about that. Definitely post your comments on the YouTube. I read everything. Share it, because other people that are watching may respond to your comments as well. Right now on the surface, because of all the years that AJ Styles has been wrestling, I followed him going back when he teamed up with Air Paris. I don't recall any incidents of racism. I don't remember any interviews of anybody citing this. So, you know, if CM Punk just feels that the guy, you know, just keeps his mouth shut a little bit too much and should go out there and speak and tell people, all right, I totally respect that if that's how CM Punk feels. But at least fucking say that and don't give the inclination that AJ Styles is a racist. So I don't know how you feel, everybody. I don't know how you feel about people who are very silent about this. I just think some people are very uncomfortable. I think some people, look at him with Drew Brees. You know, I don't think the guy is, as far as I know, I haven't seen any signs of racism and nothing in the past. He just feels he kind of had the same view I had a couple of years ago. But you see what happened with him the last couple of days. So I think a lot of people out there, you know, are afraid to express their opinion. A lot of people are afraid to have that, you know, they can't express their own freedom of speech because if it doesn't go along with the program, you're going to have a lot of people out there, you know, ready to attack. And that's what it seems like. So anyway, so let me know what you think about that. Now, I guess we could, oh, fuck. Damn, I'm so pissed off. I'm going to have to save it. You know what? We'll save it for Wednesday. We'll save it for Wednesday. I mean, I could tell you now. I have the audio, and I had it queued up. I had it saved. I was going to share it tonight on the show. I even had a fucking balloon. Ah, shit. I had a balloon ready to blow up. And as I was going to play the Triple H audio with my mic mute, I was going to just slowly take the air out of the balloon. I could mention it now, but I'll let you hear it on next Wednesday. Triple H did a conference call for Your House TakeOver. And by the way, I am going to do pay-per-view predictions a little bit later. Shout out to Mish, by the way. I know he is lurking in the chat. And much love to him as always. So later on, Your House TakeOver predictions right here tonight. So Triple H is doing a conference call. And someone asked him about Drake Maverick. What's the deal with him, with his contract, blah, 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 blah. Now, I talked Wednesday about how WWE, you know, had offered some people to sign him back at less money for various reasons, okay? A lot of people weren't going to be used like they would be used if they were able to tour, double brands, different states, different countries. So right now, a lot of people aren't going to be used as much as before, you know? So some people were offered, some people will be offered. And he was asked about Drake Maverick. Now, I don't know if some websites out there and some podcasters are intentionally pushing this narrative just for hits. But there's a lot of people out there who are saying that Drake Maverick, when he was released, was storyline from day one. I don't know what proof they have behind that. In the business world, to be in a publicly traded company, taking a real life situation, remember that stock went up. That stock went up when they made these cuts, and they made other cuts because the stockholders want to see WWE being responsible with their money, not politically correct with their money. And, you know, we're not going to get into the whole pandemic rant again, but as I said before, you know, when you're in a pandemic, you're not making the business revenue you were before. That's the time when you have to release people. You know, a lot of people out there, how could you release someone during a pandemic? Those are the people that don't even have paper routes for income because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Because business-wise, what do? You keep everybody under contract and then file bankruptcy? Or you raise your T-shirt prices another $5-10 for everybody? So anyway, so that's why Drake Maverick, when his name was first announced as being released, it was 100% true. Some people are pushing a narrative, and I believe some people think it's storyline. Not every single person is heinous like that, but I think some people out there are emphasizing that just to, you know, put a little controversy on it. So Triple H was on the conference call. He was asked about Drake Maverick. And again, I'm a little pissed off because I don't have the audio here. It's only about 2 minutes long, but Triple H basically explains exactly what we were saying all along. Drake Maverick was released. When the releases came out and they saw how much publicity and how much attention that came to Drake Maverick when his video came out of him crying, that they decided that they were going to offer him a contract back or talk to him about a contract And he didn't get into the specifics as far as money-wise, but from what I understand, a little bit less money. But the thing is that when Drake Maverick was first announced as release, that was 100% true. And Triple H is not going to lie with a publicly traded company and give the thought that some names are on that list were just entertainment purposes and storyline. So as I'm listening to Triple H say this, I'm thinking of all those people out there that are accusing WWE. I think Brian and Vinny show was one of the ones, that I brought up before. They came up there and they pretty much were like accusing, but not accusing, but accusing WWE like, oh, they would definitely do something like that and blah, 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 blah. You talk on both sides of your mouth to try to cover your ass, and I'm saying this with all due respect with them because, I am a subscriber to Meltzer's page and Brian Alvarez does stuff with him. But as I'm listening to Triple H saying this, all the air is coming out of the balloon of all those people that are pushing this narrative that Drake Maverick was never being released. And this was all storyline. And what a distasteful storyline. You take real life and you have real people being released and their wrestling careers for some might even be over this because they just have lost the incentive to wanting to do this further. Some are devastated. Some are financially strapped. And how dare WWE put a storyline and put someone in that list that wasn't really released? So Triple H pretty much set the record straight, and you could pretty much hear the air going out of the balloon of with everybody else. There's so many people out there that have to put controversy around everything. Sometimes being right, telling the truth, or being accurate is boring. It's absolutely boring. For some people out there, being inaccurate, but clickbait is more enticing. And I just think that's a little disrespectful, especially to Drake Maverick. That was such a great storyline for the simple reason that that guy was released. And the fans spoke out. And WWE, they're not, in jeopardy of filing bankruptcy or anything. They can move money around and keep an extra person under payroll. It's a lot of pressure because you bring this person back. Oh, look, what about Sarah Logan? What about this one? What about this one? What about... So it's a slippery slope to change your mind on one person. And what do you say about everybody else? But the fact that a guy, and this is why I'm pissed that I don't have the audio here, but the fact that a guy loves to be in WWE that much, and his whole life, as far as wrestling, is he wants to remain in WWE. And you have that drive, you feel bad for that person, and you see the community, the wrestling fan community, just open up their hearts to this guy. And yes, crying on video got him all that attention, but those tears were real. And some people out there are accusing Drake Maverick of lying. And I think that's just royally fucked up. I think that's really disrespectful to Drake Maverick. Just being happy for a guy that was able to get his job back. Yeah, again, it's boring for a lot of people out there, but there's nothing wrong. You're not going to lose your followers on your Twitter or your website or your blog or your podcast simply because, hey, you know what? The guy got his job back. Good for him. Isn't it funny, everybody? Isn't it funny that the same people who were pissed off that WWE fired people during the pandemic are pissed off that someone was able to get their job back during the pandemic? Curse you, WWE, for letting all these people go. Curse you, WWE, for changing your mind for one person. How dare you? So, anyway. So let's get back to SmackDown a little bit. Not a bad show. The Miz and Morrison stuff. The only thing I liked about the Miz and Morrison stuff is gave me flashbacks of WWE Swerved. Remember Swerved? It was funny to see them punk out Braun Strowman a few times. But, this guy turning trucks sideways in vans and commercial vehicles. When you do it so many times, I can't do it. But unless I had like a jack crazy powerful, Jack, or 20 people helping me. But when you do it over and over again, it's like, oh, big fucking deal, you know? Yes, Austin. Thank you very much, Austin. Austin Nance, not 316. Austin Nance, if you're enjoying the show, I'd appreciate it if you hit the thumbs up. The more thumbs up, more likely this shows up as a recommendation for someone else out there. If you're enjoying the channel, please consider subscribing. It costs nothing. I originally was going to start this June 1st. I decided to start July 1st. But starting July 1st, we're going to do these membership things over here. You know, just one-on-one, like Q&As and stuff like that. We'll talk about that in the future. So I'm putting stuff together. I have a few people that are very successful on podcasting on YouTube that are giving me a lot of ideas and helping me in a lot of ways. And, you know, they're helping me also set up the phone number to take calls. So July is going to be a pretty big month for this channel. I think this is where we turn the page and really start getting really serious with this stuff. And hopefully, like I said, Wednesday, July, I think is going to be a tremendous change as far as wrestling goes. You're going to see fans coming back to events. You're going to see things open up a little bit more. And hopefully by the end of the year, you know, this COVID stuff will be a distant memory. People will still be concerned and have it in the back of their minds, but this vaccine is going to come out soon. Not in the next couple of weeks, but it is going to come out before you know it. And once that vaccine's available, we get it, you know, hey, I don't give a fuck if the next person next to me has COVID. I have the vaccine. As long as it's proven and I can't get sick, my life's back to normal. So, no, you want to know something? Okay, when I closed out the show on Wednesday, I almost came back on just to answer this one question. Anthony Diaz, OnlyFans account. I'm saying this now. You will never see yours truly with an OnlyFans account. I know that there's some people out there that have an OnlyFans account and it is, you know, it's non-nudity, it's non-nude, but, you know, OnlyFans account, no, you will never see yours truly with an OnlyFans account. That's not happening. If you're thinking that's going to happen, that's not happening. Hell no. But you know what? I got to give some women out there a lot of credit. Sure. In the end, they ultimately want to get more business. But I know that with the pandemic, a lot of women have opened OnlyFans accounts. Some of them have nudity, some of them don't. Me, I don't subscribe to any of them. There's only one woman two women I'm a fan of. One is in the other room, and the other one is home with my dad. So I don't subscribe to OnlyFans accounts. But I noticed that some women out there are getting very creative with their accounts. And that if someone, I guess, donates to a particular cause, you know, related to what happened with George Floyd and, you know, some other causes for depression and suicide and, you know, prevention and depression, mental health, that if you make a contribution and you show them proof, like they would send you like nudes or give you access for their OnlyFans for like a month or something like that. Hey, I think that's a great idea, man. I think it's a great idea. And for people out there that are shocked as far as women setting up OnlyFans accounts, they probably never followed the life of a stripper. I mean, how many people out there knew someone who maybe danced and maybe stripped to raise money so they could go put themselves through college? Happens a hell of a lot more than you think. OnlyFans is just another form of doing that. Right now, pay the bills, college, whatever it is. So I think, you know, hey, if someone feels comfortable doing it and people want to pay to see it, not illegal. No problem with it at all. So anyway, getting back to SmackDown, you know, and I want to let everybody know that definitely tonight the show's going to be under 2 hours. We started at 10:05. It's going to be done way before midnight. Remember, Sunday night, right after NXT TakeOver in Your House, I will be right here giving you a recap. So in less than 48 hours, you will have me right back here. And then Monday is the DTKC show, and Wednesday and Tuesday. I don't want to blow it up yet. Well, actually, it might even be Monday too. I don't want to blow it up yet, but someone is putting together for fun a Zoom video, because that's one thing that I'm going to expand on Patreon almost immediately. We're going to start doing Zoom chats, going to start taking calls on Patreon shows, just try it out. Going to start doing more Zooms. And this particular person who does a podcast as well and does a lot of great interviews in the entertainment world, he's going to host a Zoom, and it's going to be a game show, and it's going to have rules like Jeopardy. And I have been invited on it. Yeah, I could say it, right? Mish, I think, was invited as well. And so we're going to, if everything goes well, it might be this week, this Monday. It'll happen early in the day, so it'll be way before Raw. But if that works out, you will see a little trivia Jeopardy version. And yeah, so it's going to be Zoom. Did I say Zoom? No, Zoom. Zoom. What was that song? I forget that club song. Zoom. I don't remember right now. But anyway, so SmackDown, it opens up. Jeff Hardy comes out. Oh, they saw somebody with red hair. They saw someone with pink skin, mayonnaise skin. But the fucking cops don't arrest Sheamus. Yours truly nitpicking, but that is just care. You didn't see Sheamus arrested because, once again, my example, this is not WWE on Fox. This is Fox on WWE. There's a certain group of stars on SmackDown that fit the demographic that is watching SmackDown on Friday nights, that fit the demographic that Fox is going for. And, Bayley being a double champion now, and you see the New Day push, and New Day deserving, obviously, but you see certain people getting pushed and certain people don't. Oh, Drew Gulak, he gets fed the win today against AJ Styles, which I thought was great, but it comes more like a 5-minute fluke, not momentum. You could see Daniel Bryan is another one that is very family friendly for SmackDown on Fox. Braun Strowman, the gentle giant, he's doing a worm with Otis 2 weeks ago. You got Miz and Morrison, the college punks like punks. I tell you, out of everything on SmackDown tonight, Miz and Morrison punking out Braun Strowman was my favorite part of the night. Lifting the truck over was dopey. It doesn't impress me no more, even though, Braun, you want to impress me? Turn my fucking house upside down. Seriously. Just lift the foundation. Just lift it off the ground, But Miz and Morrison, when they're getting excited, when Braun is, they think is going to be slimed, or he takes the bottle and for some reason pours the bottle in another thing, and it almost looked like it was a Mentos type of deal. But everything that they were doing, when they're in the truck, the van, like they were all giggly and excited. And to me, that their reactions, I think, would have been all of us if we were doing something really, really sneaky to tease someone, almost like Jackass. How many times when you saw Jackass, that show, setting up, stunts where someone else would get hit, and right before it happens, you see them like they're almost peeing their pants, like they're all excited. That's what it felt like tonight. And it's goofy. It's goofy. They weren't dressed like Antifa Benjamin. Stop. It's late at night. You don't wear bright colors if you want to blend in with the nighttime. The goofy security guard outside was kind of ridiculous. And by the way, last week, I thought I saw a Grand National. I thought I saw a Pussycat. I thought I saw a Grand National. And then tonight, they actually mentioned it, and I was like, I did. That was a legit Grand National. The windshield, and they were very careful about the car. Notice they only banged up the windshield. Now, yeah, you could have glass inside the car and they got to vacuum it up. And, if anybody's ever had a broken window on their car, that you could vacuum that for 3 hours. And then for some reason, a week later, you go into your car and you'll see a piece of glass that shows up somewhere. Hell, I look around in here and I still got foil papers from a month and a half ago, and I blew up the fucking confetti stuff here. They just show up out of nowhere. Look, right here, look, think. It just shows up for some reason. I found it in my fucking keyboard. So, but the windshield was the only thing they damaged today. Because that windshield's about $350, depending on where you live. Because my Lincoln Mark 7 is very similar as far as the box shape with the Buick Grand National. The windshield for Buick Grand National, I believe, is the same windshield as a Buick Regal. Now, yes, the car is, that's probably like an 85, I would say, around 86. So you're talking about 34 years old. So, it's an older car, but, you can still get a windshield for it. So, so those segments were funny. But Sheamus, when he comes out calling Jeff Hardy pretty much a junkie, and like I said, why are the fans cheering Jeff Hardy before he even explains that he was set up? Sheamus comes out, puts Jeff Hardy through the plexiglass, which was impressive. But again, SmackDown on Fox? No, Fox on WWE. Not thinking through the storylines deep. Why would Sheamus get away with that? Why is he not arrested? Look at Elias. He committed assault. The storyline is that Elias, what was the injuries? I have it over here. Elias' injuries, I think I have it here. I'm pretty sure I have it here. Where's his injuries? I'm looking. I don't have the injuries in front of me. I don't really fucking give a fuck. They said like torn pectoral muscle and broken ribs, I think it was. So, a lot of people are reporting that Elias may legitimately be out for some time. So this was the way to write him off. But if you're talking storyline, all right, he set up Jeff Hardy. Oh, what a bad thing to do. You set him up. But that person fucking assaulted Elias and caused major injuries, and he's not arrested. That is a careless fucking storyline. That is storyline stupidity. When you see shit like that, you understand the demographic that WWE is targeting more than anything else. Older fans, if you're a WWE fan or if you're a pro wrestling fan and you're home on a Friday night, chances are you're going to watch wrestling no matter what. So that demographic that they know is going to stick around, they're not gunning for you. They'll give you an AJ Styles and a Daniel Bryan. And by the way, this match next week better be unfucking believable, because all these websites reported that it was amazing. It was amazing. It was amazing. The fucking second greatest wrestling match of all time. Better be that good. Better be that good. No shit, Jody, it's not real. But when I watch a fucking horror film or I watch something in a movie theater, from the time it starts to the time it ends, my suspension of disbelief is supposed to make me believe that it's real. So you're watching WWE and you're watching this storyline. Why is Sheamus not arrested? Why? It just makes zero sense. Zero sense. It was just a weird thing. And then we got Otis. He steals Baron Corbin's crown. They show the repeat of, the little tribute to Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which we talked about last week. Otis beating King Corbin in 4 minutes. It was what it was. It's just a novelty match. I still feel Sonya Deville is kind of like the MVP for SmackDown since COVID has started. She may not have started off as the MVP, but she has really shined more than anything else. She had the match with Lacey Evans tonight, went 12 minutes. Lacey Evans and Sonya Deville actually work great together. Problem is you don't have house shows right now. So every time they face off, there's a camera there. So you don't want to see them face off 3 weeks in a row, 3 out of 4 weeks, 4 out of 5 weeks. Now, if there were house shows going on, they'd be tearing it up on the house show circuit and just doing it. And then they have a rematch on TV, and it's that much better because they had so many house show matches to put it all together. Matches in the past, and look, up until recently as well, more obvious in the 90s and the early 2000s than any other period that I remember as a wrestling fan. But when WWE used to hype up a pay-per-view match, let's say Shawn Michaels versus Vader. I just want to use an example. You would have Shawn Michaels and Vader wrestle on various house shows, and they would be pretty much trying to put together their pay-per-view match through the house shows. So they have one match, and they would see what really worked over there, what needed improvement. Then they go to another town. Then they would work their match and maybe add something, change something around. And after a whole bunch of matches on the house show circuit, now you're ready for pay-per-view, and they pretty much have everything ready to go, and it's the finished product. Lacey Evans and Sonya Deville have great chemistry together. But again, every time they have a match right now, there's a camera there. So, for what they have done the last 2 weeks, it's been great. I don't know if you want to see it 3 weeks in a row or again in the next 2 weeks. Wouldn't surprise me if you do. But, the match basically ends because Mandy Rose is on the screen, calling Sonya Deville a failure instead of a fighter. For some reason, this freaks Sonya Deville out, pisses her off. She gets distracted. Evans hits her with the fucking women's right. 1, 2, 3, Sonya Deville loses. Even though Sonya Deville lost, she has lost 0 in the stock department. She is fine. She's doing a great fucking job. It seems like WWE is not extremely comfortable with Sonya Deville versus Mandy Rose. I'm sure if this is, I don't know if it's going to lead to a match at Backlash, but, there's got to be a payoff. They've interjected Otis a little bit. They've interjected Dolph Ziggler a little bit. But, I don't know if the payoff between those two, and they've already fought a little bit. So it's not like they haven't battled yet. But this has got to come to a conclusion sooner than later. And when it does come to conclusion, what's next for Sonya Deville? Like I said before, the promos have been passionate, blending in real life, beautiful, fabulous. Always helps when you can do that. But once she moves on from Mandy Rose, then what? It's almost like what happened with Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott. Forget the stuff with Lana, but Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott, they kind of moved on from that. And now you got Liv Morgan, talking to millennials about, I remember this, and I'm like this, and like that, and, trying to get people to relate to her. And I'm not shitting on the storyline, but you feel that Liv Morgan, there's been a step down since the stuff that she's been doing with Ruby Riott and even Sarah Logan when she was on TV. So, and by the way, for those that are interested, AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan will be the grand marshals for NASCAR this Wednesday on FS1. They're going to be the Grand Nationals for the next NASCAR race. Don't know if they're going to have any battling. I don't think they'll start wrestling during this, but it's interesting to have dual Grand Marshals. So that's going to be this Wednesday. So anyway, Braun Strowman, like I said before, he's in the kitchen area by, the Performance Center. There's bottled waters everywhere. He goes and pours it into a cup. And again, it looked like the whole Mentos thing where as soon as he pours it in the cup, foam goes everywhere. And he acts all fucking pissed off. It didn't really get on him. It was in the fucking kitchen in a Performance Center. I open something up, it blows up in my face. You know what? I get another one. If I open up a can of soda and it's all shooken up and it blows up in my face, I wipe myself off, I get another can of soda. Braun Strowman looks like he wants to murder someone. A little bit too much overacting, in my opinion. Later on, Miz and Morrison set up the Nickelodeon slime thing, but Kayla Braxton gets the most of it. I agree, Darren. Yawn, yawn, yawn. It's children's stuff. It's goofy, setting up, punking someone out. It reminded me of Swerve, but Miz and Morrison's reactions to it was fucking hilarious. Even outside, when Miz has got the golf club and Morrison's got the baseball bat, and they're just fucking up the car. It's funny how nobody called the cops or anything like that, but it was fucking hilarious, man. I thought they acted like college punks, people that are just trying to start trouble and punking someone out. But unfortunately, though, with Braun Strowman, it just doesn't seem to be clicking. I mean, this Backlash match is going to be quick. Hopefully it's painless. And Braun is going to beat them soundly. So then we got, I don't know what they're doing with Shorty G, but Shorty G is being interviewed. He gets confronted by Mojo Rawley. Suddenly Mojo Rawley is teaming up with Cesaro and Nakamura. And, New Day giving a little bit of a rub to Shorty G. Shorty G is such a great fucking wrestler. And again, people are like, why do you keep doing the Shorty G gimmick? He's so much better than that. Why don't you just get rid of it? He could be a serious contender for one of the smaller titles, secondary titles. Then you got to say to yourself, Fox on SmackDown. Not SmackDown on Fox. I know their Twitter is SmackDown on Fox. No, it's Fox on SmackDown. He's got to have the Shorty gimmick. That's what it's all about. Teasing, Acme Insta-feud, everybody. Somebody else making fun of his height. Even though if you actually do some research, there are a lot of wrestlers who are shorter than him. That's the funny thing about it. So this sets up a match later on. The match, it was okay. But, it just felt uneventful. Didn't seem to click all that great. You had Big E, Kofi Kingston, and Shorty G beat Nakamura, Cesaro, Mojo Rawley. Rawley eats the pin. Mojo Rawley, they put him on SmackDown. Remember, he was a Raw guy. They put him on SmackDown because of Gronk. And then Gronk ends up signing, with the NFL, returning to the NFL. And Mojo Rawley, they can't figure out what to do with him. I don't wish anybody to be released. But you look back on it, if Gronk was already gone from WWE in the middle of April, would Mojo Rawley still have a job? I don't know. But Mojo Rawley, unfortunately, he's hype. He ain't hype. He's got a mirror. He don't have a mirror. He's with Gronk. He's not with Gronk. It's just, he's filler. That's what it is. He ain't hype, he's filler. That's it. Actually, you know what? They should have blended the two together. He should have had that goofy paint on his face, and he should have looked in the mirror. And while he's looking in that mirror, remember with the eye, he should have looked in the mirror and go, he ain't hype. He should have said that to himself. And I'm not talking about him personally. I actually like Mojo Rawley. Riddick Moss, anorexic thighs. He's got what's that, dental floss thighs. His thighs look like dental floss. They're so small. And like I said, I didn't like to crack jokes about it because for all I know, he could have had some type of an accident and he's got forms of atrophy. But they have tried so many different things with Mojo Rawley. And it's kind of, you feel bad for the guy for a certain extent because he's got talent. I just don't know why they can't put it together for him. So I blame this more on WWE, the way they utilize Mojo Rawley. I don't criticize Mojo Rawley's ability. So, his calves. That's right, Danny. I'm sorry. Yeah, dental floss calves. That's what it is. So I actually had another term for it, but it's very insulting. But it's calves, not thighs. Thighs are the upper part. The calves are the lower part. So anyway, we had Drew Gulak against AJ Styles. First, it was we had them in the ring, and Renee Young is basically interviewing both. And if you notice a little political innuendos thrown in, Daniel Bryan, I want to work and defend the title every week, and AJ Styles talking about handouts. They bring up Gulak. Nice to see that WWE re-signed Gulak, better performer than he is given credit for. And basically, AJ Styles kind of pokes fun at the whole coach thing. This leads to a match, and Drew Gulak gets the win. It's supposed to give the suspension of disbelief that AJ Styles may not. This might have kind of revealed that AJ Styles may end up being a champion next week because they're trying to tease like AJ may not be on his A game. So what happens next week? Don't know. All I know is the way people hyped it for the last couple of weeks, that match better be fucking phenomenal. better be fucking the second greatest match of all time. Second greatest wrestling match of all time. But, you know, it's nice to see Drew Gulak back in. Because you remember my rant, you know, and like I said before, just because other people out there don't pay attention to Drew Gulak doesn't mean that he's not a bad performer. You know, it pisses me off when someone gets let go and then people are like, oh, you didn't give a fuck about Drew Gulak. Why do you give a shit all of a sudden? You know, and I'm saying to myself, I fucking talked about him on my shows at least a half a dozen times this year. Maybe other people are not fans or don't pay attention. You know, unless it's a top guy that gets you the biggest tweet fucks. You know, if I write about Drew Gulak and he wasn't being released and he just wrestled a match and had a good match and I might get 2 people that might like it. You know, but oh my God, if instead it's like Seth Rollins or Roman Reigns or someone else and I write about it, I might get 20. So, but unfortunately, as much of a fan I am of Gulak and happy to see that he's still in the WWE, I don't think this win catapults him unless he turns on Daniel Bryan. Only way I see that happening. So, with that said, you know, this is when Strowman saw his car, the Grand National, saw it all trashed. Security guard rats up Miz and Morrison. Miz and Morrison can't get out of the fucking van, the truck, whatever it is. And Strowman once again, you know, sounding like he's got to take a shit. He's holding the truck, and then, you know, just, you know, he's struggling for like 30 seconds. And then all of a sudden, you know, that extra oomph, he flips the truck over. The camera inside, it looks so easily moved and everything. And there was no violence in the camera inside the truck. No violence whatsoever. You know, Brian, Alex, I don't know what a white pedophile van looks like. I didn't know that. Is that true that pedophiles will usually like scope out people in a white van? I don't know. You added 4 laughy emojis to your own thing, so I don't know. Maybe that is. Of course it was edited, Jody. Of course it was edited. This time, though, give them credit. They didn't have those, you know, those metal, you know, like things they put under the tires so the tires don't move. You know, I'll never forget the one he did with Roman Reigns. They do the distance shot, but meanwhile the fucking piece of equipment that's there that was holding the tire in place so the truck doesn't move forward or something like that. You'd think that someone would just kick it out of the way so it's not on camera, but no. And then tonight we have Bayley and Sasha Banks beat Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. You know, I immediately started thinking about what other tag teams could possibly take this off Alexa Bliss and not Alexa Bliss, Sasha Banks and Bayley. I still feel that this is the scenic route. All right, you know, if I remember, just think about this for a minute. If we didn't have COVID, Bayley versus Sasha Banks was the likely match at WrestleMania. Just look, we're months past that already, and this storyline is still sort of building. And the problem is that, you know, when you have Charlotte come out and tease and be the antagonist, and then you milk another month, 2 months, it just comes off as just milking it and milking it and milking it. You know, this is why I give AEW credit. They were going to have that cage thing with the Elite, you know, versus the Inner Circle. It was supposed to take place, I think, in Jersey. And then COVID struck. And they didn't fucking decide to milk this for the next 3 or 4 months and just try to, you know, hit these all detours. They improvised. And they ended up going with the Stadium Stampede, and Matt Hardy ended up signing with them, so they were able to change it up a little bit. And it was fun. And that's it, you know? So they improvised. But it just feels like WWE is going to... It gets to a point where it's too long. And the Ali stuff is a perfect example of that. The truth will be told. Think about this. Not 2 weeks, not 4 weeks, not 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 3 months, 14 weeks, 15 weeks. We're now into the 17th week of these teaser videos. This is Emelina territory. I forget how many weeks it was when Emma, it might have been like 21, but when you look at build-ups, angles, I don't even think GTV had 17 segments trying to tease who was it. They would show the videos, but they didn't have the 17, clips of who's behind GTV, who's behind GTV. No, they would just show it, and that would be it. Seriously, James, February 14th was the first time, if I recall, that we got that little teaser with the symbol. February 14th, Valentine's Day. We're now in June. We're now almost 4 months in. I mean, that is, and when if it does come to flourish, there better be some crazy ass controversy behind it. And I say this to defend Mustafa Ali. You look at the symbol, it's got to be Mustafa Ali. Makes no sense for it to be anybody but him. Now think about this, and here's where I say this in support of Mustafa Ali. If this guy fucking comes out there and he just exposes one person, and it's like no big fucking deal, and maybe he ends up exposing something with Sasha Banks and Bayley, maybe that's the end up payoff. By the time that happens, we may be 18, 19, 20 weeks in, all right? And unless this is an absolute bombshell, where, just a crazy-ass, big, huge storyline swerve, this is going to hurt Mustafa Ali. Because people are going to look at this like, this is what we fucking got for 20 weeks, 17 weeks. This is the fucking payoff. That is going to hurt Mustafa Ali in the end. Whoever ends up being revealed, unless it is a crazy-ass swerve, a holy shit swerve, it is going to be a letdown. Anything that is built up for 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 2 months, you better have some awesome shit behind it, because right now, you know what it feels like? That they do not know how to pay this off. And after a month or two, it feels like the payoff will be Sasha and Bayley. But they hit the rest there. They decided to take the scenic route. Now they got the tag belts. So now this storyline lingers for another week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. And if it ends up being a payoff, you realize that they milked this fucking shit an extra 2 months because they milked the shit with Bayley and Sasha Banks. If Bayley and Sasha Banks ends up getting involved in this, the truth will be told, realize that they fucked up that storyline, they fucked up that build-up because they decided to take their sweet-ass time and a couple extra months for Bayley and Sasha Banks to split. The match on SmackDown was okay, but I want to see where this goes. And, unfortunately right now, it's just stagnant. It's very stagnant. I want to see what happens with Bayley, but she will not be Bayley 2 belts for a very long time. Definitely not, in my opinion. So that was pretty much SmackDown tonight. Not bad. I definitely want to bring this up. We were talking about Elias being out with an injury. Unfortunately, we have to report another injury. This man is injured once again. That photo, I think, was posted by Jinder Mahal today. And he had a little bit of a knee surgery. We don't know how much time he's going to be out. Unfortunately, I guess nobody that does websites are friends with Jinder Mahal because none of them have a fucking clue what he had done. From someone that I spoke to, it was a scope. And, they had to clean it out and do a couple other things. Nothing major. But I don't know. I'm not going to lie. I haven't confirmed it yet, but I was told that it was scoped, They had to clean some stuff out, and, they had a little bit of an issue with his knee, but nothing major. Like, he will be back sooner than later. But unfortunately, he just showed up on TV, had that little appearance with, Drew McIntyre, Well, he talked about McIntyre's win, and then he disappeared again, and he's on the shelf. Unfortunately, we have 2 deaths to get into. And again, if you remember last week, we paid tribute to a few people who passed away. And it said, once again, unless you could get tweet fucked, get a nice, lube job, people don't seem to give a fuck about some people that die in the world of pro wrestling, even if they've never heard of them before. Wrestler number 1 that I want to bring up, Matematico, number 2. Actually, I've seen him wrestle a couple of times in AAA. Started, I think, in '86 and wrestled about 20 years. Not a long career, but he had his father and his grandfather who also were in Lucha Libre. He died at the age of 50. So, God rest his soul. Again, sad that almost no one is going to even mention the fucking guy's name. Another person that I just found out literally about an hour or two before we went on the air. Some of you that have been a wrestling fan and an online fan since the Monday Night Wars will remember this guy. You might remember websites like 411wrestling.com. Some of you in the Northeast might remember the Declaration of Independence. Some of you out there may even remember a website, where they would do a lot of goofy stuff, and they would post some really, just whacked out shit. And I actually posted this earlier. All right. If you look on the top, that is my little tribute online. Chris Hyatte. He used to be a writer on a lot of wrestling websites, 90s, 2000s, do a lot of Raw Nitro recaps, really whacked out in his stuff. And I always remember him more than anything for Scoop This. And that screenshot that you see underneath my little post is from my old hard drive. I actually connected my hard drive tonight just to post that screenshot so people, because look, there are a lot of people out there that will pay tribute to people after they're dead and act like they knew these people and they know nothing. Or people out there will write about other people in their life and none of them seem to have social media. This guy used to fake post about me on Declaration of Independence. Chris Hyatte used to, joke around with me, would fake post about me. The guy was only 50 years old, and he had problems with his kidneys. Big health issues that I wasn't aware of. And what happened was he's been on dialysis, and his condition has been getting worse and worse and worse. And then he just decided a couple of weeks ago that, you know what, I'm tired. I don't want to deal with this no more. And from what I understand, that he just decided that he was going to enjoy the rest of the time that he had, and he was eating normal. He talked online about, wanting just a pastrami sandwich with sauerkraut and stuff, and he was just going to enjoy himself for the last couple of weeks. And he posted a bunch of things the last couple of weeks, basically letting everybody know that he was going to be leaving this earth. Not a suicide, but major health issues. And he died yesterday or today at the age of 50. So Chris Hyatte, that is a name that I know a lot of you out there wouldn't remember on the surface. But if you start researching Scoop This or 411 Wrestling or some of the whacked out stuff from the 90s and the early 2000s, you will remember his name. So I remember him clearly. And back in the early 2000s, he sent me all of this stuff from the Scoop This website before it was being taken down. And I saved a lot of the shit, and I still have it to this day. So I wanted to mention him because I know, like I said, so many people out there, they're not going to fucking mention him. 50 years is way too soon, and rest in peace to Chris Hyatte and Matematico, number 2. So let's see. What else do we want to get into? You know what? Let's talk In Your House TakeOver. Now, we'll do the predictions. Then we'll see. I don't know. Maybe we'll play The Rock's video. Maybe we won't because it's available everywhere. He called out the president. Very powerful. But before I get into your In Your House TakeOver predictions, a little teaser video came out today. And for anybody out there that used to be a fan of the WWF In Your House videos, I think you'll appreciate this because earlier today we were treated to this teaser video.
Hey everybody, this is Todd Pettengill, and we are just days away from having a house party that would make Kid and Play jealous. This Sunday, as the doors to our house remain temporarily closed, the superstars of NXT take over your house with an event 25 years in the making. Will Tommaso Ciampa be able to evict Karrion Kross? Can Rhea Ripley and Io Shirai dethrone the Queen? And with all the lights turned on, the spotlight shines on an undisputed dream in the first ever NXT Backlot Brawl. All these and more knocking on the door Sunday as we take over In Your House.
Pretty cool. It's nice to see Todd Pettengill make a cameo. Will he be at the pay-per-view? I don't know. And before I even get into the predictions to Cassette Classics, number one heel manager, Bobby Heenan or Gary Hart. Man, you know, Bobby Heenan obviously more mainstream. I always thought Bobby Heenan was better than Gary Hart. Gary Hart, very methodical, calming influence, very calculated in what he would say. You know, wouldn't get as physical compared to Bobby Heenan, in my opinion. Gary Hart is very underappreciated by a lot of people in wrestling, you know, even back in the day who followed wrestling. But if you ask me who I prefer for the two, Bobby Heenan. Not even close. So let's get into In Your House. All right, because right now they only have 6 matches confirmed. Yeah, 6. So they may add a match or two. You know, no predictions contest. Yeah, we're going to do one for Backlash on Patreon, but this one, you know, there's an interesting pay-per-view. When I actually looked at the actual matches, kind of disappointed me with the lack of stipulation to it. But let's get into it. Finn Balor versus Damien Priest. Now, whenever I do predictions, I always try to keep a balance as far as number of heels that win, baby faces that win, even title changes. And I just feel that when you look at the other matches, as far as who's going to win and who's going to lose, you know, Finn Balor right now seems to be almost in purgatory. Like it doesn't feel like they're doing anything with them. And Damien Priest has gotten the upper hand way too many times. You know, he's interfered in matches that resulted in Finn Balor losing. And Finn Balor, you know, the storyline is that he's going to get revenge on Damien Priest. Now, I personally think if Damien Priest were to lose this match, he loses no stock whatsoever. There's a lot of rumors of some other NXT names coming to Raw and Smackdown sooner than later. Velveteen Dream's name has been thrown around. Io Shirai's name has been thrown around. I haven't heard anything about Damien Priest's name being thrown around. But right now, in my opinion, I personally think Finn Balor should get the win here. I think he needs to get a little bit of revenge on Damien Priest. They can have a very competitive match. Damien Priest could push him to the limit. But I think in the end, Finn Balor needs to get a little bit of revenge here. So I go with Finn Balor on that match. Mia Yim, Shotzi Blackheart, and Tegan Knox versus Candice LeRae, Dakota Kai, and Raquel Gonzalez. They started with a bang with Raquel Gonzalez in the corner of Dakota Kai. And it feels that recently it has fallen completely flat. So although the vignettes of Mia Yim and Keithley poking fun at Gargano and Candice LeRae were funny and everything. For some reason, I think out of everybody in this match, Shotzi Blackheart, they just did that great video with her. So she can lose but not be pinned. So I don't think she loses any stock there. Tegan Knox has gotten a bunch of victories. She's had some losses too, but her career, I mean, it just feels like it's in a little bit of limbo as well. Mia Yim, you kind of feel has got a little bit of momentum. So if this match ends up with a loss in their category, Mia Yim, I don't think she is involved with the pin. I think for anybody, I think Raquel Gonzalez needs a little bit of momentum. And I look at it two ways. Either Raquel Gonzalez eats the pin or that team gets the win. Either way, although I'm kind of thinking that WWE is going to give the win to the baby faces, I'm going to go with Team LeRae, Kai, and Gonzalez. I'm going to give them the win. So right now we got one babyface and one heel, getting the wins. Tommaso Ciampa versus Karrion Kross with Scarlett. Obviously big fan of Karrion Kross. I don't gush simply because, he's been, a long-time listener of our show even before he got into wrestling. For a lot of people don't know that he's a good friend of the family. And everybody remembers last year when he sent me all those papers from Impact Wrestling, hoarding money from him, which was a ridiculously small amount. And I'm not saying any of this to try to brag. The reason why I'm saying this is I'm not going to, make this guy sound like Jesus Christ, can't win, can't lose, this and that, unbelievable. He's got crazy ass momentum right now. The entrances are awesome. Scarlett's got a very unique look, a lot different than in the past, which I told you was going to happen. Still remember the goofs that were saying that she's ripping off Liv Morgan, which I just thought was ridiculous, man. You look back on that. But I'll say this. Karrion Kross, the thing that disappoints me about this match is it's had a nice, violent build to it. Ciampa gets attacked. Ciampa seems to have been a little bit missing in action since the attack. I would have liked to have seen him on NXT. That right after that attack the following week, refusing to leave the ring until he confronts Kross. We didn't get any of that. Scarlett, in a lot of people's eyes, is the hottest woman in wrestling, but she's very methodical. I love the claws. I still want to see her rake somebody's back and that visual of the scratches, and not necessarily drawing blood, but that would be outstanding. But here's my problem with this match. There's no stipulation. It is a straight-up wrestling match. And that kind of surprises me because I expected some type of no DQ or something here. So I can't help but to feel that this match will end with Ciampa winning by disqualification. I think Kross will beat the fuck out of Ciampa. I think it'll be a wild brawl. But I think in the end, Kross will do something to Ciampa to get himself disqualified. I don't see Ciampa getting pinned clean. It would surprise me. And I definitely don't see Karrion Kross getting a loss right now. So I kind of feel that Ciampa will win by disqualification. And by doing that, it doesn't hurt Karrion Kross's stock at all. Maybe Scarlett gets involved, causing the DQ. But I think, Darren, it's not too much focus on their entrance. Right now, you don't have crowds. So theatrics seem to be, what gets everybody's attention. The theatrics in those matches, those special matches, that is a really cool entrance. You don't base someone's stardom because of an entrance. All right. It adds a lot of the aura of the person or couple. But you don't base someone's success simply on an entrance or simply because of how they look. It's what you do in the ring. And I think this will be, a great, couple of minutes short, but I think in the end, we're going to have a disqualification. I wish that there was some type of a stipulation on here where it was like no DQ or falls count anywhere or something. And I understand, they'll probably build to another match with a stipulation. But man, after everything that's happened to lead up to this point, just to see no stipulation, to me that spells DQ. DQ. Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley versus Io Shirai for the NXT Women's Championship. Charlotte's the champion right now. I talked about this Wednesday. I really haven't changed my mind at all since Wednesday. The only thing that makes me think a little bit is Io Shirai is supposedly rumored to possibly be on Raw or SmackDown. Io Shirai challenging Asuka for the title would be maybe a fantasy match for a lot of people out there. But as far as the promo territory, I don't know if you put Asuka against Io Shirai. My pick to win it is Io Shirai. Problem is, if she goes to Raw or SmackDown, then, number one, who does she feud with? Number two, she loses this match. Rhea Ripley, her promo, you kind of feel like a bounce back is needed for her, but I just don't see any momentum for her right now. And Charlotte retaining would piss off a lot of people. You look at this, where somebody could appear on a different brand up to 4 times a year and this and that. Charlotte could appear on NXT as long as she's the women's champion. But the thing is, if Charlotte loses, now she's regulated to Raw only. So what do? You have Charlotte feuding with Asuka. That's something that could very well be happening. Very well be happening. So I would love to see Io Shirai take it. It's tough, man. But, as much as I want to see Io Shirai take it, you know what? I'm going to go with Io Shirai. Even though it would not surprise me if Charlotte retains or Ripley gets the belt, because Io Shirai has been so good. And the last match that she had with Charlotte ended in clusterfuck, which we all knew was going to happen. I'm going to go with Io Shirai. I'd like to see Io Shirai get the win. Her being the champion on NXT, no reason why they can't have her feud with Rhea Ripley or someone else. So I'm going to go with Io Shirai. Keithley versus Johnny Gargano for the NXT North American Championship. I see Keithley. Oh boy, I keep going back to the Charlotte match, man. Man, I want to change it so bad to Charlotte retaining, but man, I tell you, Io Shirai. I just trying to picture NXT the following week. Is there anybody in the back burner that Charlotte could be? You know what? Charlotte could actually go up with some new talents on Raw. Bianca Belair for one. I think right off the bat. I'm going to go with Io Shirai. Yeah, we'll stay with that. Keithley versus Johnny Gargano. I'm going to go with Keithley retaining. Johnny Gargano, even though, he's been a little bit on fire with his, new attitude, I don't see Keith Lee losing yet. If Keith Lee would lose that belt, Keith Lee would be going to Raw or SmackDown. And there's been no rumors yet of Keith Lee showing up on one of those two brands. So I'm going to say Keith Lee will retain. And Adam Cole versus Velveteen Dream, last chance backlot brawl match for the NXT Championship. If Velveteen Dream loses, he cannot challenge for the NXT Championship again as long as Adam Cole is champion. Dexter Lumis, I think, may come into play for this match. Dexter Lumis, kind of taunting the Undisputed Era. I think in the end, Adam Cole retains. Velveteen Dream, the way they did that stipulation, Velveteen Dream could still fight for the championship again if they keep him in NXT. Just Adam Cole cannot be the champion. So if they would have changed the stipulation that Velveteen Dream can never challenge for the title again, period, then I would have went with Dream. But the fact that he cannot challenge as long as Cole's the champion, I'm going to go with Adam Cole to retain. And I think Dexter Lumis comes into play for this match. So that is it. with your takeover matches. We have not heard anything with Fandango being on this card. I expect 1 to 2 additional matches being announced. So any other matches that end up taking place, maybe I'll post a couple of predictions on Twitter instead. But as of right now, those are the matches that are advertised. So, I want to plug something. This is going to surprise a lot of people. But I actually was emailed directly from the Bella camp as far as the GoFundMe. And I was asked to plug this. And, look, I get not hidden my criticism of the Bellas for a very long time, especially Nikki Bella. But they have something right now that I think some of you out there may want to check out. And I don't know if this photo has been circulated. Well, we got to put the full body photo. But there's a whole bunch of photos that came with it. That's their pregnancy photo. But for those that are interested, the Bellas right now have set up a charity drive on GoFundMe. It is to benefit UNICEF USA, works in 190 different countries, providing children and families with life-saving support services, healthcare, education, water, emergency relief, and it is a really, really good charitable cause. There's a lot of details there. I don't plug a lot of charities, and it gets difficult, because when you plug people's personal charities, you don't know what's legit and what's not. I can't tell you how many times I've had people who follow the show ask me to plug stuff for like a GoFundMe that they have. The problem is that a lot of times you can't verify information. I feel bad for some people who are out of work, especially during COVID. It's a little bit different. If you have a tragedy related with what's going on right now, if your business gets destroyed, but sometimes you have people that go on GoFundMe, they just are too lazy, that don't want to work. And they'll write that they have like, I'm going to be evicted or I'm homeless. But meanwhile, then they're not. And you have no way of proving it or not. And it's a shame, but that's just the fact. I always brought up that GoFundMe of that couple. Give them credit. They told everybody, we don't want to work. We want you to pay us so we could go around the world. You remember that couple? I know a lot of you out there. So I always say this as a piece of advice for everybody out there. You come across a charitable cause, you got to have proof of it, and, otherwise you got to be very, very careful because, people will touch emotions just to benefit themselves. And it happens all different areas. But in the case of this with the Bellas, though, it's pretty detailed. And UNICEF is obviously a very strong charity, donates almost all of their money to the benefits. A lot of charities out there will only donate half of the money, and a lot of it goes into the executive's pocket. So you got to do that research, too. You come across a charitable cause, you want to know what percentage of what you're donating is going to the charity. With UNICEF, I don't remember the exact number, but it's in the 90s. So almost every penny that you donate goes to the people who need it. But they give you some examples. You donate $5. Yeah, and it might sound a little goofy. $5 could supply 100 colorful blocks to babies so they could work on hand-eye coordination. Now, for all of us, you might be like, oh, yeah, blah, blah, blah. But then you realize, $25 supplies 100 bars of soap for children and families. And yes, there are people in other countries that don't even have running water, soap, the necessities. So it's a very worthy cause. You could go on GoFundMe and check it out. It's Bella's World Baby Shower. And I was asked to plug it, and I did a little research. And you know what? Good for them, seriously. This is one that I really think was very, very cool to see them get involved with. So, but I just figured I'd share with everybody out there. On Wednesday, we talked about Linda Hogan's absolute dumb remarks about what she was seeing on TV and pretty much labeling that only, and these are her words, Afro-Americans were the ones looting. So we will never see Hulk Hogan in AEW. And shout out to John who sent me that photo. But really all it is, but still. We have some comments from Tony Khan as to why Hulk Hogan is never welcome in AEW. Now, look, common sense, I think we knew the reason, but I figured I'd share with you Tony Khan's exact quote. He said, what he said on tape, long before George Floyd, I've told people I cannot work with Hulk Hogan. How can I look at my black friends, football players, employees in the face, or myself in the mirror after the things he has said and has never given an adequate apology for? He can't blame what he said on tape on the dangers of social media. So that is Tony Khan's quote as to why, sorry about that. I don't know if we had a little freeze over here, but, look, I'm not even going to get into the rant that I did on Wednesday. Everybody has every right to express their views on what Linda Hogan said. Everybody has every right to express their views on Tony Khan's take on this. Some people said, hey, Tony, if you're going to be pissed off at Hogan, how could you have Mike Tyson in your company after the shit that he's done? I get it. Just some people out there are uber obsessed with some people. Uber obsessed. It's a private company. Tony Khan, Chad Khan own it, and they don't want Hogan in that company. They have every right to have that view. So I just figured I'd share it. You might feel that they're a little bit hypocritical with having, Mike Tyson in there as well. Look, I've already worn 2 Tyson shirts. That's Tyson all the way on the top left in the back, even though part of his head is cut off right now. I am a huge Tyson fan. Yes, he was the baddest man on the planet back in the day, and he was the scariest man on the planet back in the day, and he's done some fucked up shit in the past. And my gut feeling tells me that he took advantage of that girl, but, I feel that he has redeemed, and I pay attention to what Tony said specifically. Hogan has not adequately apologized, and again, you actually dissect, Hogan. You hear people behind the scenes, showing support for Hogan and feeling that he has, learned his lessons, but you never saw Hogan go and publicly speak in front of schools, in front of this. I think he did it once for an award, but, you would think that he would talk to more, maybe minority areas to just, I think he just doesn't want to confront that, he doesn't want to confront the chance of having an overwhelming audience shit on him or not accept his apology. And because so many people have not accepted his apology, he hasn't stood there and taken his medicine, in my opinion. So I figured I'd just share that with you. By the way, for AEW this week on Dark, they're advertising, and here's where I kind of laugh a little bit at AEW. They're advertising this, all right? Robert Anthony taking on Jon Moxley. Now, honestly, if I would have shown you a picture of Robert Anthony just without any logos or anything in the background, and just like I said Wednesday, I go, who this? You wouldn't have a fucking clue who that is. They're pushing this match like it's a big deal. All right. The reason why they're doing that is because we talked about this last year, that TNT will be airing a second AEW show in the future, maybe sooner than later. And all along, I thought AEW Dark would be good to put on TNT because it gives a bigger audience to see some of the up-and-coming stars. So they're putting Jon Moxley on AEW Dark to basically boost it up, to give it a little bit of an upgrade. You follow my show over the last couple of weeks especially, we've been joking. We've been playing Guess the Winner on AEW Dark. The matches was so fucking one-sided, you could predict the winner in every match. Of course, we know who's winning this match too. Ain't no way Robert Anthony's getting this win. We're not going to see, Brian Cage interferes in the match and Robert Anthony gets the pin. It ain't happening, even though that would be a nice swerve. But putting Moxley on Dark is to upgrade the name talent and just to get more eyes on AEW Dark. And when it does come to TNT, it'll be like a WCW Saturday Night. It reminds me a lot like WCW Saturday Night. You will see them replay things from Dynamite. You will see, a lot of squash matches. Maybe you get one match on every episode of Dark that is a little bit competitive where you really can't pick the winner. So I have no problem with it. I have no problem, but I did get a kick out of how much they were pushing this match like it was something important. So I want to quickly get into what I was saying earlier. I thank everybody again last week for allowing me to spend an hour just to talk real, open up, give you my honest thoughts of everything going on and how I have matured and I have learned in a lot of ways, and I have kept my ears open, and I have listened to a lot of views, people that I totally disagreed with, and a lot of those views have creeped in. It bothers me when some people called me fake, that, I'm just doing this because I'm on YouTube now. I'm doing this for money. I'm doing this for likes. I'm doing this. Total opposite, man. About 80% of any funds that have come in so far from YouTube has been donated. And you follow me on social media, you know that most of my Twitter posts, a lot of people don't really care too much when you post really positive stuff. And when you take shots, a lot of the guilty parties will never like it. When I talked about Danny Havoc last week, I got about 15 emails from wrestlers that thanked me for putting all that attention to Danny Havoc on 3 different shows. And I wasn't intending on doing that. It just happened the way it was. Because, look, the cause of death has not been made official publicly as of a couple of hours ago. But you could put 2 and 2 together and kind of figure out what people are fearing that it is. 34 years old. Wife dies 2 months ago at the age of 27. I think you could kind of figure out what people are fearing. And it seems like it's going in that direction. Of course, I won't say the actual until we know for sure. But again, when you hear the rumors that he killed himself, I'm not going to say, any more than that. We don't know if it's 100% true. But a lot of the people in and around his inner circle have kind of alluded that. They've kept it very private. But you see all this outpouring of mental health and depression and, we got to be better to each other. But for Hana Kimura, everybody and their mother, came out of the woodwork to talk about that. Danny Havoc, why? Because he doesn't have a nice set of tits? I hate to say it like that, but, people in droves were sending me private emails just appreciating that. And it sucks that one person, could commit suicide and everybody opens their heart to him, and another person, because it doesn't give him much attention, there's a lot of people out there, that do give it attention. And it's not, Johnny C, don't give me that because nobody knew him. 90% of the wrestling audience out there did not know who Hana Kimura was. And don't give me because she appeared on a Ring of Honor show, most people did not. And a lot of people out there waited a day and a half before they mentioned her name, because it was only after it became a big story that suddenly, everybody, like when you saw CM Punk writing about AJ Styles, or that fan, he talks about plugging videos in it, but he can't even spend 2 words about that. That was happening all across the social media. That's why I gave Mish so much props for that, because he's the immediate one that talked about Hafu and everything like that. Nobody knew about any of that stuff other than this tiny core audience. So, yeah, you're right, Darren. Women get more sympathy than men. But, but the bottom line is I thank everybody who allowed me to be real last week and talk about everything that's happened with George Floyd and, how I have changed over the last couple of years. Look, health scare, cancer scare really does open your eyes a lot more. And I made a concerted effort that in 2020, I was going to try to take chicken shit and turn it into chicken salad as much as I possibly could. And I'm trying to make the best of 2020. I am a lot more positive now than I have been in the past. Some people hate it. Some people like it. But one thing is for certain, since I've been doing stuff where I've interacted with people since 1997, and June 9th will be the 23rd anniversary of me doing this. Your authenticity with me, straight up authenticity. Not everything about me is an open book, but a lot of it is. And, I try to back up everything. Even, earlier when I was talking about Chris, who died, Chris Hyatte, I was going to give little condolences and talk about I knew him in the past. And I said, you know what? Some people out there going to say, oh, you're only saying that because he's dead now. So I went into my old hard drive. I thought he was worth it. I connected it. I found the stuff that he sent me 20-something years ago. I took the screenshot. I posted it for everybody. So I thank everybody for allowing me to be open last week. I've said a lot of stupid things in the past, but I've learned and I've grown from it. And I will still say a lot of stupid things. I probably won't spray myself with Lysol in the mouth again. Had a headache that night, by the way. But anyway, one thing I wanted to bring up now, very quickly, is something I said Friday. I've had private conversations with a lot of people out there, and something I brought up Monday again. And as far as exposing racism, exposing Karens, exposing all of these whacked out people out there that for some reason just can't respect others, even if they're a different color, sexual orientation, or this and that. Anthony Diaz, is it the anniversary of Chris Cash and New Jack? I don't believe so. He's saying that it's the anniversary of Chris Cash and New Jack. You know what? I would have to check that out to see if it is. I don't believe so. But June 9th, 1997 is the first day that I did a wrestling hotline. And I'll talk about it next week once June 9th comes and goes. Is there a show? June 9th is a Tuesday. So I can't, I'm not even doing a show on Tuesday next week. I might do something on Patreon though. But no, June 9th, 1997 was the first day that I ever did a wrestling hotline. So this June 9th, 3 days from now, will be 23 years that I'm doing this. Johnny Z, I don't even know where they came up with the name Karen, but everybody, across the board now identifies a lot of like white racist women as Karens. So I say it too. But of everything that I said last week, and I will continue to say now, of course, there's a lot of things that need to change to solve racism. And I have said this before, racism has not gotten worse in the last couple of years. It's now getting caught on camera. I always, even though I didn't vote for him, I always bring this up. Remember, only 13% of the United States, I believe, is black. Barack Obama was voted in office twice. That wasn't just from black people. So racism, and you don't base racism because a black man became president. My point is that it's getting exposed and caught a lot more now. And unfortunately, after the 60s, the 70s, Rodney King, everything that's transpired, you would think in this day and age, especially after Obama became president, that, hey, maybe we don't have to agree with each other, but you just respect everyone out there. You don't even have to pay attention to them. But this evil hatred that's inside confuses the shit out of me. And I'll never understand it because I'm not black. But of all the things that we need to change, the game changer for me, in my opinion, is video. It is a game changer. Video was around 5 years ago, but like I said on Breakfast Soup last week on Patreon with Mish, 5 years ago, you had camera phones. But I think 5 years ago, I think a lot of people out there were afraid to turn on a camera phone in front of a cop, afraid that they would be abused, their phone would be destroyed, cop would arrest them, this and that. Over the last 5 years, what I have noticed is people have grown a set that they'll put a camera right in someone's face. I think people were always afraid. I put a fucking camera, I turn it on, somebody's going to punch me in the mouth. A lot of people now are not afraid anymore, and that is a wonderful thing. And the more things get caught on video, the more it's going to scare some people straight. You got to feel it in here. Unfortunately, you're not ever going to resolve 100% of the human population to not hate others. There's a lot of black people that hate white people. There's a lot of white people that hate black people. There's a lot of straight people that hate gays. There's a lot of gay people that hate straight people. You're never going to be able to get rid of it completely. But with the case of video, there are people out there that are going to think twice before they do something. There are people out there, when they realize, fuck, my entire life might be ruined over it. Is this person that I'm complaining about, is this person worth me losing my entire career? That idiot in the fucking park in New York made the phone call, that Karen that called and said there's a black person here and there, and black person. You know, another person, even though they may still have the hate in the heart, they see a camera in their face. That split second might change their mind and might allow them to maybe let some thinking come in and reflection. And a lot of people are getting caught now. Case in point, I don't know if you all seen this. So many things have been caught on video over the last couple of days. And you think of that 75-year-old man that was pushed by the two security guards in Buffalo, New York. He fell, he cracked his head open. They said, oh, he tripped. They suspended both of those cops. I think 50-something officers, like they all quit in support of their cops. Good. Adios, bye-bye. A lot of people have been getting caught. But this one kind of blew me away more than anything. If you haven't seen this yet, okay, and there's been more heinous stuff that has happened. We had a cop, 77-year-old man, just a tragedy. Almost nobody's talking about him being shot and killed. But I'm not saying that this is as serious as that, but this video blew me away for the reason that I said about video being a game changer. All right, this happened like 2 or 3 days ago. You had 3 teens. And when I say teens, I don't know their exact ages, but I've heard anywhere from 10 years old to 13 years old. 3 white teens near Bethesda, Maryland. They were posting flyers around the neighborhood. And the flyer was theirs, and it was written on, and it said, a man was lynched by police. What are you doing about it? 3 teenagers, preteens maybe, you know. I don't know what age is considered a preteen, but, you know, teens. And that's the flyer that they're posting around. So some guy on a bike with a helmet and sunglasses on sees them posting these flyers around. And I want you to see the video of what went down. This is going to blow you away when you see this. Check this out.
Away from me.
Hey, leave her alone.
Let me play it back. Okay, here we go. Check this out.
Away from me.
Hey, leave her alone.
Do not touch her. Do not touch her. She has nothing. Do not touch her, sir.
Leave her alone. Sarah, just walk away.
Walk away.
Hey,
Hey, get off of her.
just get out of here. What? Hey, what the fuck?
Threw his bike into the guy.
Hey. You want it?
What?
Give it to me.
That's okay.
Pretty fucked up, right? Now, you know what's amazing about that? That video went viral, okay? Now, if you look at, I'm sorry for playing it again, but I want you to focus on his face, okay? I'm going to play it one more time, but I want you to focus on his face. Just watch his face closely.
Away from me.
Hey, leave her alone.
Do not touch her. Do not touch her. She has nothing. Do not touch her, sir.
Leave her alone. Sarah, just walk away.
Walk away.
Hey,
Hey, get off of her.
just get out of here.
You see this guy? Now, even if you put it close up,
What?
all right, you really, there's no IDs, there's nothing. All it is some guy on a bike, and he's ripping those flyers away from those 3 teenagers. So this video started floating around, and you got people trying to suspect like who it is, this and that. Some people thought it was a cop. It's not a cop. Well, just based on that video, they found out that that person on the bike is this guy. That is the guy on the bike. I kid you fucking not. They posted the picture of the guy with the helmet and the sunglasses. There was no other ID on him or anything like that. No signs. He used to be a cop for the Montgomery County Police Department. His name is John Damskey. D as in David, A as in Apple, M as in Mary, Skey. And I don't know if this is true, but word going around is that his son is a cop and his son actually had shot a black person and was investigated. I don't know if that part is true, to be honest with you, but just think about this for a minute. This guy is on a bike with a helmet on and glasses. Nothing else. And just based on that video, people were able to figure out who it was and figured out that he is a cop. He's no longer from that police department. He works somewhere else. They already have online his home phone number, his home address, his current employer. They found everything about this guy. So my point is, when I say video is a game changer, I guarantee you that guy in his wildest dreams never thought, with a helmet and glasses on with 3 fucking teens, that sure, I probably expected it would go on social media, but people would be able to figure out who that person is. Is that crazy shit or what? So when you realize now, like I said, anything you see and there's a camera in your face, and it doesn't even have to be a person. It could be a security camera, it could be a store camera, it could be a camera from the street. The more incidents like this show up on video and get put online, the more other people out there are going to think twice before even doing something like that. I guarantee you, if that guy realized that his entire personal information in his family would be doxxed and his name, career, everything about it would be exposed, is it worth it for a couple of flyers? So someone else is going to look at that and then maybe has a little bit of reflection and maybe starts to understand why people are so outraged, why this feels different. I'm telling you, man, I'm an older person and I've seen a lot of racist stuff in my lifetime. And, patrons have seen that video of my friend Stanley, Jamaican guy in his 60s with dreadlocks. I've been friends with him for 15 years. And that was I've been very hesitant about putting that video publicly. I have to ask him for permission before I would do that. But the point is that, this feels a lot different. The riots in the streets, the protesting, the amount of white people I see protesting, the amount of legitimate care and, just sadness, this feels a lot different than it has in the past. And I truthfully believe that you are going to see a lot of changes come at us. Now, some of the changes are a little bit radical. Darren, no, it's not some of my friends are black. I didn't say that at all. But you don't even know why I even brought up this guy Stanley. That guy Stanley was on a video that I posted on Patreon because he had something happen to him that was a racist incident that he opened up to me about. And we posted it, talked, had a conversation about racism in 2020. That video is a couple of years old. It's not like, hey, this is my black friend. I've been friend with him for now 18 years. Any of you ever hear me ever mention his name before? No. I don't bring up my friends based on their color or nationality or anything like that. But that video I posted because we had a conversation about racism 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. And I went back and watched that video again. And, you know, as far as everything that's going on today. So like I said, the more the cameras are on people's faces, the more it's going to expose these people. When you see all these people's lives ruined because of this, those 2 cops pushed that 75-year-old man in Buffalo, New York, their information is going to be everywhere. So you're going to have other people out there, especially cops, who may think twice. There's a video that's floating around right now. I didn't get a chance to put it online over here. There's a video right now of a guy that got pulled over, and he's got, I think, his wife in the passenger seat, and the cop is just being really, really nasty to the guy. And first it's speeding, then it's this, and then it's that. And, you know, the guy doesn't want to go to jail. I mean, doesn't want, so the guy calls for backup. It's not showing any signs of violence or anything like that. And the other cop just grabs him, puts him in a chokehold, throws him down, and just, you know, you look at it and you're like, are you fucking kidding me? So that video is going viral right now. So the more this gets exposed, the next time somebody may think twice before doing that action. And hopefully that pause may give them that enough time for reflection that says, man, no, this ain't right. When you have 4 fucking cops and 1 cop is being a little bit rough with another person, especially if it's a white cop and a black person, those 3 other cops, like the ones that are in jail right now, if that happens again, whether it's 1 cop with him or 3 cops with him, maybe someone turns around and says, look, man, I don't think that person could breathe. If that fucking other cop says, don't worry about it, it's fine, maybe another cop, you catch him on video, is like, no, man, you fucking push the other cop out of the way. So the more video is going to be a game changer, man. It's going to be a game changer. So anyway, I wanted to share that. I don't think Darren's a troll, though. I don't think Darren's a troll. I think he likes to provoke a little conversation from me, which is all good and everything. But, you know, I don't think we should play the Rock stuff. Should I play it? I mean, do you just want, I'll leave it up to you guys. I mean, it's 7 minutes long, but I could play it and you guys could see it. We could close out with that. If you haven't seen it yet, go out of your way to see it. The Rock confronts our president about not being the healer in chief. Now, I will say this. Everybody immediately, not everybody, but a lot of people immediately, oh, run for president, run for president, run for president. Yeah, a lot of people have seen the video, so we're not even going to put it up. But I'll say this. The Rock obviously has a heart of gold. The Rock obviously is extremely intelligent. The Rock obviously has entertained us. The Rock obviously is a genuinely good person. The Rock obviously has is just an absolute, just awesome person, human being. Unfortunately, though, that may not be enough to be president. You don't know what views are with this. If there's conflict, you're not going to cut a promo on someone that's in Iran. You're not going to do this. You're not going to do that. I'm not saying that The Rock is better than Trump or worse than Trump, but there's got to be more to it. Running, that's why I always said in the past, I would love to see The Rock run for mayor or for governor. You know, just like what Reagan did back in the day with California, you run for local office and you see, can you manage a budget? Can you control this? Can you do this? And you gradually, go further with it. But I will tell you all, if you have not seen The Rock's video, it is extremely powerful. It is extremely powerful. And even though the video has already sort of gone viral, that will be the topic of discussion next week. And it is true. It is true. A lot of what The Rock said, as much as, I support our president, I am not happy with him in a lot of ways, and I've criticized him quite a bit over the last 8 or 9 months. And, the economy getting a little better is a wonderful thing, but unfortunately, the economy is not enough. It's not enough. There's got to be a healer in chief. And what's funny? You go to my Twitter. Go to my Twitter. I was going to retweet this. I decided not to. Maybe I should. About 2 years ago, I said that somebody of color is going to step up and be the healer, bring everybody together. I didn't know who it was going to be. I didn't know exactly when it was going to be. I tweeted this about a year or two ago. I said somebody of color is going to step up and be the healer. And I think The Rock is that person, believe it or not. You go on my Twitter, do a search. If you really want to see it, I'll retweet it. I didn't want to put attention to it, but I checked it and it's still there. So, anyway. Oh, why is the cop's picture still up there? I didn't even realize it's still up there. Yeah, let's get this fucking guy off the screen, man. So with that said, I'm going to exit here. I actually went about 20 minutes overtime. As you could see, I am sweating bullets. And I turned the fan off, which is why you don't see me with this. I don't know what it is. I guess it's just blowing dust in my face. But I want to thank you all for tuning in. Definitely post your feedback on any of the topics I talked about. I'm extremely curious about your views on the comments that CM Punk said that just left a lot of questions, I think would be the right way as far as CM Punk goes towards AJ Styles. I don't think it's fair that people are going to come up with their own conclusions about AJ Styles, especially since I haven't seen AJ Styles even provoking anything with CM Punk. So I don't know what school CM Punk went to. Probably somewhere in Chicago. But anyway, so I'm out of here. Enjoy NXT TakeOver in your house. I think the pay-per-view is going to be extremely good, extremely good. There's 3 or 4 matches that I'm looking forward to. Io Shirai, Charlotte, Rhea Ripley is one. Cross and Ciampa, although I think we're going to get shortchanged in a DQ. Velveteen Dream and Cole. I want to see if Dexter Lumis gets involved. Even Keithley and Gargano. There really is not a bad match on paper. And again, we'll probably get 1 or 2 matches added to it. So I will be here Sunday night, 5 minutes after TakeOver goes off the air. They're saying that TakeOver should be ending somewhere around 10:30 Eastern. So you figure right around that time. But if the pay-per-view goes longer, then obviously we'll start a little bit later. But I'll be here Sunday night. And then you got Monday for the DTKC show. And then we'll see what happens Tuesday. And then you got Wednesday Night Dynamite. So the shows continue. Keep banging them out. So I thank you all once again for the support. Before you go, if you're enjoying the channel, please consider subscribing. If you enjoyed the show tonight, please give the thumbs up so it gives a recommendation for others to go check it out. And I appreciate all the support. Send your feedback, man. I read everybody's stuff, and a lot of you have given me some great ideas to try things, avoid things, bring up things. So keep sending it, man. And if I warrant, maybe a recommendation, you want to give to your buddies out there or on social media, please. Much appreciated. So I'm here for all of you. I'm not here to hear myself talk, trust me. Especially after all of these years, I'm kind of bored of myself. So, all right, everybody. Take care. Be well. I'll catch you all again Sunday night after NXT TakeOver in your house. Ciao, everybody.
Jon Moxley.
It was fun to channel surf. It was kind of hard to do a little pocket pool after you hitting the last channel button 50 times for 2 hours plus.
Jon Moxley.
And his whole idea of overanalyzing, oh, he's an alcoholic and he misplaced the belt. And how could you have someone champion like that? The fuck out of here.
Wednesday night.
Dynamite. You can have fun. You really are.